All right, welcome back. Today's outrage du jour is this Jason Aldean song and video titled "Try That in a Small Town." Now, Aldean says the outrage is meritless. And if you're not familiar with it, the song references violence and fiery protests that don't go over very well in small towns. And Aldean says it's about feelings he had growing up where people took care of their neighbors, regardless of differences or backgrounds or beliefs. Being neighbors transcends all those differences, right? But then someone somewhere pointed out that the music video highlights riots, which was actual news footage, and it was filmed in front of a Tennessee courthouse where, unfortunately, a young black man was lynched 100 years ago, and then became the scene of race riots a few years later. Obviously, those are horrible events, yes. But to suggest that the production company or Aldean had any inkling of those is absurd. The Maury County Courthouse is a famous landmark for films, including Hannah Montana, for instance. CMT pulled the video, but the song has resonated with America. Reached a #1 on iTunes at one point yesterday. Now, did CMT just Bud Light themselves? Has the cancel culture been canceled? Well, my next guest is from a small town. Please welcome in to the show, Lloyd. Luke, thanks for being on.
Hey, Scott.
I was fired up.
Ready to rock and roll.
I was fired up when I came in this morning on this one. It really angered me listening to all these pundits try to suggest somehow or make up all these reasons why he put that video and song out, which were absolutely absurd, if you ask me.
Yeah, so I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm more of a rock and roll kind of guy myself, not country, but that's besides the point. I mean, give me some Van Halen, right? But the woke and cancel culture are promoting hate and disrespect, right? Which apparently is what they're trying to fight against, which makes no sense. It's hypocritical. And honestly, cancel culture is a form of a totalitarian way of thinking. It's the complete opposite of true democracy and true liberalism, right? Yep. So, Scott, I know that you know this oldie but a goodie, right? The movie A Few Good Men, that's the movie that says you can't handle the truth, right? Well, a lot of Jason Aldean's song is promoting the truth. The woke and cancel culture crowd is mad that the song addresses the small town atmosphere and how the woke culture BS isn't tolerated in small towns. And frankly, nobody has time in small towns to try and think about wokeness. You don't see as much disrespect in small towns. You see much more respect for each other, much more acceptance. Cancel culture is the opposite of acceptance. The reason people are mad is because they can't handle the truth.
Well, you're exactly right. And if you only have to take a look at small towns and how they're thriving or surviving at least, and then go look at our big towns, New York, Chicago, yep. LA, San Francisco. That'll give you an idea about how well those cultures work when left up to their own devices. That's what really starts to irritate me because this song came out in May. This wasn't like it came out yesterday and everybody, all of a sudden, their hair was on fire. I think I heard it summed up best that it seems like these cancel culture people have a quota that they have to find something to be upset about on a daily basis, and it just so happened to be his song yesterday.
Well, one of the biggest issues I'm seeing right now is this transition from individual think, what we've usually done as a human race forever, think individually, come up with your own ideas and way of thinking. Now it's groupthink, right? We live in this narcissistic world where people are trying to fit in, and whatever the group thinks, whether it's right or wrong, will be the truth of the group. And people don't care as long as they feel accepted by the group. And I think that's more common in cities and bigger areas because there's more of a need or a feeling at least to fit in and be just like your peers or people around you, right? Crime is on the rise. Nobody seems to care. Disrespect of people's opinions and values is on the rise. Nobody seems to care. Everything surrounding cancel culture is destructive. And one of the things fueling that as well is social media. These echo chambers, on social media that, again, is promoting group think.
And to that point about think and they don't think, it's like group not think. But my issue, my #1 issue was this, was everybody came at him with the same theme really was, how come you didn't know that there was a lynching there around 100 years ago? Okay? I mean, does anybody, that to me means that I'm never going to get through to you. Because probably there's a lot of bad things that happen in a lot of places around America that nobody knew about that happen to be on film, right? And to that point, Hannah Montana, the movie, filmed right outside that courthouse. A few other things for the Hallmark Channel did too. I mean, it's like if that's what they got, they don't have anything.
I don't know why we're trying to make this world a fairy tale in some sort. Like there's not issues and bad things that happen, right? There's absolutely bad things that happen. And that's the case with large cities. Is the bigger the city, the more people there are, the more likelihood there's going to be crime and bad things happening. But throughout history, of course, there's bad things that happen. It doesn't mean that it's right or that it was a good thing. It absolutely isn't. But that being said, if we just bury history, we can't learn from history. Right. So why are we trying to bury history, right? And if you go around, just always trying to keep in mind every single thing that's happened in a certain spot or, a certain thing. I mean, we're going to go crazy thinking and trying to keep up with everything going on around this world and trying to keep up with the woke culture. Because, of course, I don't even think that was a reason that he probably didn't take anything like that into account. He probably didn't even know that, right?
No, I'm sure he didn't
I'm sure you get caught off guard all the time.
Well, because if he did know it, he wouldn't have done it. I mean, that's the thing, right? So these people that want to try to, throw that guilt on him, if he knew it and his production staff knew it, I'm sure they wouldn't have done it. I'm sure that thing's not going to be in anything. That's not going to be in any other video ever again now because of all the backlash. But that's unfortunate because if that's what you got to do, I think they just come for it because it's a good, wholesome message, and they don't like that because it hasn't worked.
Well, I think Jason, from my understanding, Jason Aldean's a Trump supporter, I believe, or he has been pretty outspoken. He's been pretty outspoken about his politics, and that's the case. Is you automatically hate somebody because of who they like or what they stand for, and that's just not democracy. That's not America.
All right, man, you're America. I appreciate you coming on from a small town. Appreciate your point of view.
Rock and roll in America, baby.
Luke Lloyd, thanks for coming on, Luke. All right, now it's time to dial up the cow phone. I like this part. This is my